Hi there, and welcome everybody to a Geddington guide to Google Classroom. My name is Laura Murias. I teach Year 6 at school. I'm also in charge of ICT, so I fix everybody's computers and I make presentations like these. So, today we're going to think about a few things to help you and your children with their remote learning in Google Classroom during this most stressful of times. Today we're going to think about these things. How you actually access Google Classroom and log in for the first time if you haven't done that already. How you open up the assignment material that the teachers have set for the children. How you go about completing that work and how you hand in that work virtually so that the teachers can see what the children have been up to. How the teachers can give feedback to your children and how the children can indeed put comments on their own work. And we're also going to talk about live lessons which are happening using the Google Meets facility within Google Classroom. So let's get started. Accessing Google Classroom can be done in two ways. Number one, you can download an app. For an iPhone or an iPad, you can get this from the App Store. Or for an Android tablet, you can get that from the Google Play Store. The icon looks like this. Google Classroom is also a website, so it can be accessed with anything with a web browser on it. So that could be a laptop, it could be a desktop PC, a Chromebook, or even through your child's Xbox or PlayStation attached to your TV. Google Classroom does work best on a device with a larger screen. So to log into the Google Classroom, go to the website or use the Classroom app, and your child will need to log in with their Geddington School email address, which everybody has. It's something@geddingtonschool.co.uk. So this is how the Google Classroom actually works. It's been designed to mimic what goes on in an actual classroom, like at school. So first things first, you'll log into your Google Classroom and you'll go into opening the assignment. This is joining the lesson for the day. You'll then view all of the lesson resources that your child's teacher has set. This could be a video that the teacher's created, maybe a YouTube video, link, a PowerPoint, a document that they have to read, a worksheet via PDF, anything along those lines. The children then do the work that the teacher set. I'll come on to explain a bit more about how that works in just a sec. Then they hand it in virtually, which is the equivalent of putting their exercise book in the box in the classroom. And then, like we do at school, they'll receive feedback on their work. So, let's think about the assignments. Every day, children will receive 3 assignments, one for English, one for maths, and one for something else from the curriculum. This could be history, geography, science, art, music, RE, pretty much anything. Assignments are organised in the Google Classroom into subject areas, and they're also dated, and you can see when each assignment is due to be completed as well. When you click onto an assignment, you'll find instructions that the teachers have written, and all of the resources needed to complete that assignment will be attached to it as well. Children get emails onto their school email address when new assignments are set by the teacher, so they won't miss out on any important learning. So here's what an assignment looks like. As you can see, it's organised into the subject area, it's given a date, you can see what date it's due in, and you can see the teacher's written instructions, and we've got some resources here. We've got a couple of PowerPoints and some PDF and the answers just in case children are really stuck. So completing assignments can be done in 2 ways. This can be done online using the tools that are within the Google Classroom or using good old-fashioned paper and pencil offline. So children could view all of the lesson resources on the screen and write down their work and their notes into an exercise book. Or if they'd like, they can view the resources on screen and type their work directly into the Google Classroom using Google Docs or Slides or something like that. So once they've done their work, they'll need to hand it in. Let's see how this looks. There's two ways of doing this. If you're working online, children will be typing into their Google Doc and they'll just have to click the hand in button at the end. So let's have a look at how this works in reality. So here we can see a Year 5 assignment that's currently been set. This is a spellings assignment, so we can see the instructions from the teacher and the resources that have been attached. Over here we can see the box that says your work. Now this can be either added as an attachment using the file button, or it can be created using one of the Google tools that is within the Google suite of apps. So let's create a Google Doc for this child to do their work, and I'll show you how this looks. Here's the document. We're opening it up now, and this child can do their work in here. So the child just has to type up their work into the Google Doc and then hand it in when they've finished. Look, this is a spellings task and I've made a spelling mistake. Obviously you can see the assignment material up here and just switch between the two tabs. So when the child has finished their work, they click the button up here that says turn in. This will take us back to Google Classroom and give us a prompt to say, do we actually want to hand in this piece of work? As you can see, the piece of work has automatically been named with the child's name and the assignment name to keep it very organised. So we'll hand in that piece of work and the child's teacher will then receive that work. You can see that this child has now handed in their piece of work. If they decide that it's not good enough and they want to change something or they want to add something else, they can always unsubmit it and resubmit it once they've finished editing it. So, what about if children are working offline using paper and pencil? Well, again, they'll need to hand in their work, but instead of creating a new piece of work, they'll need to attach it as a file. So, take a photograph of the child's work. This obviously works best if you're using a mobile device, such as an iPad or a phone that's actually got a camera on it. And then you can add that to the assignment as a file so the teachers can see it that way. So, obviously children would like feedback on their learning. The same way that we do in class, teachers will give feedback by starting a dialogue of comments on that child's piece of work. Children's feedback is received via private comments, so not everybody in the whole classroom will see what the teacher is writing about that child's piece of work. It's also really beneficial for us as teachers if children can self-assess their own understanding. In a classroom, we get much more of an idea about who understands and who doesn't, who needed extra support, but while we're at home remotely, it's really difficult for us to do that. In school, children use these purple pens to self-assess their own work and write comments. And so it'd be really helpful if when your child's completing their piece of work, they could also add a comment to it. So let's talk about Google Meets. As you know, children are now having live lessons as part of our remote learning provision, and this is done also through Google Classroom. At the top of the Google Classroom, there is a meeting link, which you can see here, that children will need to just click on and join that video call at the given time. Again, this is better accessed through a device with a larger screen. Children with the best will in the world are not going to be able to see properly if they're just looking at things through a phone screen. So let's talk through some of the tools and settings that are within Google Meets. First things here, the most important button of all is this one here. This is the mute button, and children will all need to be muted when they are in their session. They can unmute when they need to answer a question from the teachers, but to keep everything organised and not complete chaos, children will all need to be muted at the start of every session. This button here turns on and off your child's camera. It would be really beneficial for us as teachers if we could see your children during the lesson. So please do encourage your child to keep their camera switched on. If the child has a question during the session, there's this button here. This is the raise hand button. This gives us a little pop-up on the teacher's screen to show who has their hand up and who would like to ask or answer a question. So, hopefully that's everything covered. Hopefully that helps a little bit when we are all navigating these crazy times of remote learning. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me at miss.murius@geddingtonschool.co.uk and I'll do my best. There are also some great tutorials out there on YouTube about Google Classroom if you need any more information about things I haven't covered or things that weren't quite clear as part of this presentation. So thanks very much everybody for watching this presentation. Thanks very much for supporting your children. I'll see you soon.